Hi everybody, so welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different, not a new release video, but a sort of 10-minute everyday your face but better look that I recently tried and really enjoyed, and I asked you if you'd like to see it and you said yes, so here is the video. So this is the bronzing effect, something I've never really tried before, so no bronzer whatsoever on my face, very small amount of products compared to what I normally use, and I'm basically going to be using a blush product in the right sort of shade that will work as a bronzer slash blush, and I'm going to be using it on eyes and everything. So very cohesive, quick and easy look today, and I can't wait to show you. So I really do hope you enjoy this, and if you're new here, hi, my name's Hannah, I'm 48, I'm not a professional, just somebody who loves makeup and beauty. Here on my channel I review the latest products, give you any beauty news you might be interested in, and show you some of my favourite looks like today. If you think you'd enjoy this, please do hit the subscribe button, I would love it so very much and it's so helpful to my channel. And if you're already subscribed, welcome back. I really do appreciate you being here. And my skin tone, which might be quite helpful for this, I've got fair to light skin with neutral slash cool, leaning more cool really, undertones. And I've got blue eyes. I've also got combination skin, which is predominantly dry, but I have an oily T-zone. Anyway, that's enough information. Let's get straight into this video. So first of all, I'd just like to give a bit of a shout out here to Caroline Barnes, who is a British makeup artist with a channel here on YouTube, and I will put her channel name below now, and also there's a link in the description. I was completely inspired by one of her videos doing the bronzing look, so please do check out her video, it's excellent, and you will see from what I'm doing today just how much I was inspired, because I tried it and I loved it. I didn't really expect to. I was having a day off YouTube when I was just playing with my own makeup, and this is an opportunity to really not even shop my stash, it's an opportunity to use your stash, because this is somewhat the sort of look where you can raid your makeup collection and find things. I certainly didn't buy any products to make this. Obviously I've got a big collection, but I've got a number of products I could have used, and I think most of you will have something at home, so you don't need to buy things to create this sort of easy look. But anyway, that's the look that Caroline did, which I really loved, so please do check out her channel. And I'm also going to be using a brush collection that she actually launched herself. So this is Caroline's brush collection, so I won't use them for everything, but for most things I will, because I haven't actually shown you these brushes yet, and Caroline used them for everything, so I'm going to do the same so you can see how they work. So Caroline did a collaboration with Otis Battersby, and you can go on the website and get more information, but there's 12 brushes in here. It comes with this bag, which has got these holes in here to make it breathable, so if you've just cleaned your brushes and you pop them back in, it stays breathable, which I thought was a really good addition. I love how sleek this is, and it holds them all beautifully. I have actually added into here some really fine detail brushes, so I'm just showing you that, but I'm not going to be using those today. So all the brushes, other than these fine detail ones, which are silvery, which you probably won't see again, they're all from this collection. So I'm going to put these out in front of me now and try to use exactly the same ones Caroline did. So when I say this is a 10-minute makeup look, it is, but obviously I'm jabbering and showing you different things, so this video will not be 10 minutes, so please don't say that didn't take you 10 minutes, because it would if I wasn't on camera. Having tried this out, it is a really quick and easy look. So, and also I'll be talking about alternatives and things like that and ways you can add to it, so the video will not be 10 minutes, my application will be a bit longer, but it honestly can be done in 10 minutes. But anyway, let's get started, and the first thing I want to do is just put a skin tint on. So my latest skin tint I've been using is this one from Makeup Forever, this Super Boost, which I'm really enjoying actually, so I think I'll start with this one. I've got this in the shade 01, and I definitely will be using my Rapid brush to apply this. Caroline tends to use her hands for skin tints. I prefer to apply them with a brush. So I'm going to put a decent amount on here. Just get it pumped. Oh, I was thinking it wasn't going to work then, but there we go, it's come out. Quite a decent amount of product there on the back of my hand, and using my Refa BO4 putting skin tint on. So obviously I would imagine anyway you've got skin tints in your collection, and I love the Lisa Eldridge skin tint, I love the Chantecaille, and I recently loved the Laura Mercier, which is launched recently. So lots of skin tints could be used, any skin tint, obviously just pick your favourite. This is mine, So I'm going to make this a really, really, really light coverage, which is just going to give me that slightly improved My Skin But Better finish. This is going on to a base of skincare, no primer, unless you call the face base from Bobbi Brown a primer. I think of it more as a moisturiser, but it is a primer as well, essentially. But that's all I've got on today, which I always use with all of my other skincare. So I've got a very well moisturised face. I've also already done my brows in a sort of minimal way, not making too much of a fuss. So next, a little bit of brightening. So I'm going to go in with my Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I've got this in shade 1 today. And again, you could use anything really. There's so many different products. You could use a liquid luminizer, even a liquid highlight if it's not too glowy. So just a little bit of this, not a lot, just a little bit into these areas. And I'm just going to tap this in now with my hands. So I am actually going to use hands at this point. So just patting this in. I know really the reason hands are good are because you get the warmth. My face is nice and warm. My fingers are never warm. But anyway, I'm going to use hands just for this bit because it does work. And with a little bit of this on my fingers, even taking this now onto the eyes. So all I've got on my eyes at the moment is skincare. So I'm just tapping a little bit of this to brighten this area. And next, for some easy concealer application, I'm going in with the Guerlain Terracotta. I got this out recently when I was reviewing the new Guerlain foundation because I haven't used it for a while and I haven't put it back, remembering just how good this is. I've just put a couple of swipes of this actually onto the back of my hand, a method I've been using quite a lot recently, rubbing it onto one finger and then transferring it to the other and then just patting it into the area I want it. And you'll see now just how quickly that goes on and how easily it goes on. This is quite light coverage, but like I said, this is a very quick and easy, light, your face, your skin, but better type of look. I'll take a little bit more off the back of my hand and just patting this above the eyes, taking it on the lids where I've got a bit of darkness. And it's pretty much in and on, and that will do. At this point I would normally be going in with contour and then setting and then moving on to bronzer, powder bronzer, but that's not the way things are happening today. There is no contour, we're going straight into the blonzer. So blonzer shades, I've got a few to show you, but I'm only going to use the one. I've chosen mine, which I'll show you last. But just looking through my stash, I picked out a number of options, so I'm going to show you them all just to give you an idea of the sort of things you might pick through in your collection. So you need something that's relatively warm that will work as bronze and contour in one. And warm is something apparently my colour analysis said I shouldn't be wearing tops like this, and I shouldn't be wearing bronzers, and I shouldn't be wearing warm shades, only cool. So I'm going against all the rules for this one. I've actually bought this top since the colour analysis, if you would like to know just how much I'm sticking to these rules. But anyway, here is the MAC Blush Please Glow Play. So that's one shade that would work quite nicely. See how it's almost like brownie pink. And another one I've got, which would be very dark, but it could be used for some of this. I'm not sure about all of it, but I had to include it because it is essentially that sort of bronzer. I keep wanting to say bronzer. Blonzer. This is the Huda blush filter in Latte. So that's another good option. And the Patrick Tar, I haven't tried it, but I certainly got it out thinking it could work. The new shade, She's Seductive from Patrick Tar, if I can get it open. We have a powder and a blush in there, but I was thinking more really this cream blush. There's the Vive Sunset Balm. What's it called? Blush Balm. I think this shade would work really well. And also there's one from Hourglass that I think will work quite well, the Unreal Hourglass, and this one is in the shade Moment. So it's a little bit orangey actually, but it might work. So certainly something you can experiment with. Like if you saw last year the sunset looks that were coming out, very popular sunset blush looks, these are sort of shades that work really well. And another one that's drugstore, actually Maybelline blush. This is their Sun-Kissed. This one definitely is the right sort of shade. This is called 08 Shades On. So there we are. That's just to give you an idea of the sort of products when I was looking that I was able to find that might work for this. So I'm sure if you go through all of your collection, you will find plenty that works. Actually, there's another one I grabbed, the Colourpop. What's this one called? Just says on the back, Barley Baby Cream Blush. But again, a similar sort of shade. So anyway, just to give you an idea, lots and lots of options. But the one I've opted for is this one from Westman Atelier. I love this formula so much. This came in their Christmas gift set. This is the Petite Baby Cheeks Blush in the shade Mimi, and this is a tawny beige. So if I show you on the back of my hand how this looks, I think this is the perfect sort of shade for this sort of look. So basically you go straight onto the cheeks as you would normally with this and take a tiny dab on the nose. I say tiny because this one is particularly pigmented, and at this point just start tapping it in with your fingers, and you'll see because of everything I've got underneath it's just going to melt in beautifully and really, really easily. And tap this into the tops of the eyes. You know, when you apply bronzer and blush, or certainly I do, I always tap a bit in with the brush, but just doing the same thing here with fingers. So it's basically making it all come together and just tapping it there down the nose. Just that tiny little flush. Now this is something you can just keep building up and up until you've got the sort of colour you want. You might just want this tiny little bit. But now we need to move to the section where we apply this like the bronzer. So if I put some of this on the back of my hand, so I've got a bit more on the back of my hand, and now I'm going to use one of Caroline's brushes. This one from that collection is number 2. This is how that one is shaped. And I'm going to take this off the back of my hand and now start applying it where you would apply, certainly this is where I'd start with contour normally, and then go in with bronze in the sort of inner section of the forehead. So doing this lightly because you don't want to over apply and then panic. But look how this formula, and this is, you'll find this with most cream formulas, they just melt into this sort of look. A little bit more on the brush, then taking it into the eyes here a bit more heavily. It's just so easy, and because this is what the colour you've got everywhere, you can just take it out from the eye and then start bringing it along the side of the face. So you can see what I mean about how this is just a quick 10-minute look, because you can just really throw this together in such a quick amount of time. And you don't need to worry too much about mistakes, because I'm just dipping back in and putting some more on my hand there, because this is not a particularly overly strong colour on me, and it's going straight onto a very creamy base. It's just melting in, and all of the colour is exactly the same. So there's no clashing, there's no needing to worry here about having a precise spot where you finish on the eye as you might do with lots of eyeshadows. So you're just bringing that colour, giving yourself a little bit of a sort of contour with it there, and a bit of colour around the face. Now I've never ever used a blush in my forehead area. It's not something I ever thought could work. That's why I had to try this, because I'm fair and essentially cool toned, and I really didn't think something like this could work for me. But I think it is a question of picking the right product, the right shade, and just not over applying it. And I think that this works really well. So far with one product, I've already done my eyes, my cheeks, my contour if you like. I've even brightened my nose up a little bit, which isn't contour, I know, but I've really changed the whole colour of my face. But it's so easy. I've not had to worry about placement. You've seen I'm hardly even looking. I'm chatting away, and it's just so easy. And if you're as pale as I am, you might want to run a tiny, tiny touch of this down the neck as well to make it cohesive, the way you might with your foundations and the way you might with your bronzers. Just a little bit really. Nothing much. I'm not too bothered about doing that, but just in case, if you think your neck looks much more pale now that you've got all this sort of bronzy or blonzy finish on the face. I honestly, I love that. I just can't believe that it works on me, and I really do think it works very nicely. So that one product, so quickly, you've seen how easy that was. And next I'm going to go in with a sort of highlighty blush. So the one I've chosen is from Charlotte Tilbury, the Pinkgasm Sunset, which I thought was perfect for this sort of look. So I'll show you how this looks on the back of my hand. So this is going to give me a bit of shine, but also a little bit of colour as well. And I'll show you how this looks once it's blended out. So you can see how similar that is. I just thought it's perfect for this sort of look. Now, because this has quite a high shine, I'm keeping this on the back of my hand. I've just added a little bit more there. I'm going in with exactly the same brush, the number 2, I think I said it was, and taking some on the brush, and I'm just going to start tapping it over here. So it's going to introduce a little bit more warmth, a little bit more colour, not the sort of colour I'd want all over the face, which is why this is coming in at the end. And then just taking it sort of to the upper section of the eye there. So it's bringing a bit of glow, but it's also bringing a little bit more warmth. And then the same on this side. I didn't want to put this on in one big circle because I think it's a little bit overpowering on me. It's quite a dark one for my skin tone. Obviously, if you've got a deeper complexion, then you maybe could go straight to the face with the wand. And again, just bring it up here so it all blends in together with the blush that we used. Until you don't want too much, like I said, of the highlights. So I'm not taking the product up here. I'm just making sure that it's blending together nicely. And now for something that complements this colour on the eyes, that's as easy to apply and as foolproof, whichever term I'm looking for there. So the one I've gone for is Charlotte Tilbury's Eyes to Mesmerise, and this one is in the shade Rose Gold. So here it is. I think continuing with creams is the way to go with this, because I just think they work really nicely. And I'm using the number 11 brush from Caroline's collection, which is quite a large brush for this, but we're not making this a fussy look. I'm dipping straight into the Eyes to Mesmerise, but I'm going to tap off a little bit on the back of my hand because it does pick up quite a bit of product. And then I'm just going to take this all over the lid. And this will just work really nicely into the blonzer shade that we've already got there in the crease and above. See how much they just meet each other effortlessly, and it's pretty much done. So you can have a full eye look done without any effort here whatsoever. I just think this is the perfect sort of shade for this. So I don't want to particularly take it out here. I want to keep really the blush shade that I've got there and the highlight. So my full blonzer eye look is staying above. And just keeping this rose gold here, take it right into the very inner section of the eye, and that's it. I mean, if you ever seen me do an eye look that quick before, if you know me, I spend forever on eye looks, and I do edit some of that. A lot of the work I put in, I edit it so you don't have to be bored with me blending for hours. So this is in real time. I am not skipping anything. You are seeing exactly how quick and easy this look is. And trust me, this almost feels strange to say done, but it is done. And for me, I just think it works. Then I'm going to use the number 10 brush from Caroline's collection, which is an amazing pencil tip brush. Look at the tip on that. And I'm going to go back into Eyes to Mesmerise and then run this underneath. And just using a Q-tip to collect there where I just slightly had a bit too much on my brush. But these are just so easy to work with. So you've noticed I haven't set under my eyes at the moment. There's no powders on my face. It's just so easy working with just the creams, and they just blend together so effortlessly. I just think this is the easiest look you can ever do, and you can't go wrong. Now, and I think this is completely optional because I quite like the way this is already, but just to amplify it just a tiny bit in the crease area, going back into exactly the same blonder shade I've used. Now this is a blush, it's not called a blonzer, remember that. I'm calling it that because that's that's how I'm using it. And I'm using Caroline's brush number 8. So this is a slightly smaller version of the one I applied the Rose Gold Eyes to Mesmerise. So with a slightly deeper, this is more dense, so just picking up the product a tiny bit more and just slightly adding a bit more depth there. So this gives you a little bit more definition if you're looking for it, but I don't actually think this is necessary. It really depends what you're looking for. But this is not a complicated addition to the look here. We're talking same product and everything blending out. We're just adding a bit more depth. And I'm just actually going to pat with my fingers the very edges of this look and tap out the way I tapped in initially. So it's just, there's no harsh edges and it's just blending straight back into everything else. And then I'm going to go straight in with some mascara. Actually, before I do that, let me just set underneath the eyes. So I'm just going to pat in. So you don't have to use any powders with this look, but I do like to set under the eyes and the T-zone because that's my oily area. So I'm using the number 5 brush from Caroline's collection. There's a bit of fluff on it there, or powder. And I'm going into my Pat McGrath under eye setting powder. And I'm just going to set under the eye there. And I want this to stay nice and glowy and natural. So I'm only going to set my T-zone today, just for these oils. I'm going to leave everything else nice and glowy and natural. Something I don't do very often. But I'm not finding my face is overly sticky, although I must admit, for me personally, this sort of look that isn't fully set, I would rather keep my headband on or have my hair up for a look like this. But I think as well that when you're going for a quick look like this, that's what you want. You don't want to be styling your hair, you want to just throw it up, or you just want to put a headband on and not worry too much about styling, because we're just doing a quick 10-minute makeup look, so you can just be gone and out the door in a flash. So not having to style your hair or worry about how it looks and how well it frames your face today is also helpful, because this is just an easy look. I think this is a sort of look I would probably use on holiday, and I like to wear my hair up in the heat. So this would be a really quick and easy look on holiday to just brighten me up a little bit without going too mad, and just maybe put my hair up in a clip and off I go. But that is it. I've just set that area and I'm leaving everything else. And for the eyes, I'm not going to curl the lashes or make it complicated. I'm going in with my Swede Cloud Mascara in dark brown. I'm just going to take a little bit of this onto the lashes. And this is the only sort of dark shade going near my eyes. I'm not using any sort of liner, so it's just really, really soft today. So this will give me a little bit of a lift. I do have the tiniest of lashes, but you can just about see a change there, hopefully. So hard to demonstrate that on camera, but trust me, they look a little bit less short. And I'm going to put this underneath, so it'll give me a little bit of darkness that a liner could maybe do by putting this underneath as well. And this is all I need. Because my lashes don't show up, I might wait for this to dry and just put a curler on right at the end, but these are just fussy additions that aren't necessary. And if you have lashes that actually show up and aren't tiny, you might find you really don't need to, because one layer of mascara will give you that. And I say one because I prefer one, but also this is a natural look. I don't want heavy, thick layers of mascara. I also don't want this to take too long, so I want this to be a very quick application. And multiple layers and waiting for it to dry in between are not the way forward, are they? Well, I remember Swede have given me a 20% off discount code for you now. So that is, I put all my discount codes and in my description of every single video, so you'll always be able to find it, but I'll pop it on the screen now just in case. This is one of my most used mascaras, the Cloud Mascara, and I love this one in dark brown. But anyway, let's move on to the very last stage. Now, because I'm essentially cool toned, introducing a little bit of pink towards the end is quite a good idea. You don't have to make your shade pink to do this, or maybe you just want to break it up because we've only gone for that one shade. So I'm actually going to use a tiny bit of highlighter, and I say tiny because the Charlotte Tilbury's already given me quite a good highlight. But I wanted to introduce this shade, which is, this is the Surratt Artistique Liquid, is that the full title? Liquid highlighter, something like that anyway. And the shade I'm using is Frau. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but I'll show you. This is such a pretty light pink highlight. So I'm going to turn, oh gosh, I just turned that up way too much. I'll put that definitely on the back of my hand. And now I'm going to take that with my fingers again, mix it onto both fingers and just tap it on here on the tops of my cheeks. So introducing a slightly cool tone over that. So, and again, I'm going to tap it here, making it all cohesive. Surratt is another brand I have a discount code with actually. I think it's 15%. If it is, or if it's different, I'll put that now on the screen. I do forget to mention these, but please do look at my descriptions on all of my videos, because I do add the discount codes there, because I'm a nightmare for remembering to tell you about them. I do love Surat. So there we have, you can see it's just giving me a tiny bit more of a glow, but not so much of a warm glow, so it's slightly broken up the warmth there for me, which is, I think, a nice way of finishing off a face. And something that Caroline now did, which I think is definitely optional, because I do think that this looks really nice and can be left. So this could be just put something light on your lips, look finished. But this is a way that will lock it in, perfect it, and even give you a tiny bit more of a glow. And that is using the Hourglass. I've got the Ambient Lighting palette here in volume 2. And this in some ways is cheating, because this is actually a bronzer, but this is using this as a finishing powder. And the way Caroline uses this, which I've actually used it for before and I really like, is to actually get all three onto the brush. I'm using the same fluffy brush I used for the setting powder. This one is number 4. So just getting lots of this all over, tap off, and then just pat on because it's still a little bit sticky. Taking it under the cheekbones and just taking it all over, really, to give you that all over finished effect, but not taking away the glow, because this will help to lock it in a little bit, but also give you that perfected finish. But it's certainly bringing the glow when you use the Ambient Lighting palettes. But any sort of finishing powder, well, I say any sort, you'd have to have one with a bit of shine. The Swede, yeah, Swede have got a finishing powder or a foundation powder that works as a finishing powder in my view, which is also very glowy. So that would be another good option here. But otherwise I just wouldn't do it. I just don't know if it's totally necessary, but I wanted to show you this because you really don't need a lot of this. It just gives a nice finish and adds a bit more glow and brings a little bit more warmth if you wanted it. Because pinks are more my shade than this warm colour, I might now like to introduce a bit of pink, which is something Caroline did, and her complexion is fairly similar to mine, so I thought it would work on me and I really liked it. So I went for a bright pink. So I'm sure you've got one of these in your collection if you like this sort of effect. Now you might find as well, as I said, at this stage, this colour is perfect and you don't want to break it up with pink, but because of my skin tone, I think a little bit of pink actually works. Again, this is adding to the routine, so I do think I'm good to go. So again, this is an optional addition. So I've got the new YSL 87, which is I think a hot pink or hot baby pink or something. I'm using the same 04 brush. I'm just going to dab in. I don't want too much. You do get a lot of pigment with these, and tap off and just take a tiny bit in the upper section of the cheek here to just give me that little pop of pink. Connect it with the eye. Bring it up here as well, just like we have with everything else. So it's just a touch of pink if you just think you need that to maybe break it up. And I am going to go in with that lash curler just to lift my lashes a little bit, but like I said, you might not need this. You might have more visible lashes. Again, not necessary, but just see how immediately it's lifted up a bit. So I waited until my mascara had fully dried before doing that. And now for a sort of sunsetty type of lipstick shade, which is what I wanted to go for. And I'm going to start with a liner, and again make it an easy liner. Liner is optional, you don't have to do this, but I do think for an easy everyday makeup this brand is perfect. And this is the Rhode, the new Peptide Lip Shape it's called, and I've got this one in the shade Twist. So this will, you can overline a bit with this. And that's the shade there. You can see why it sort of fits in with this look. So I've just done a very rough outline there on my lips, and it's just given me a bit more fullness more than anything. And going through my lipstick collection, this one, I didn't actually go through it. This one actually came to mind and I got it and I was right. So this one is from Urban Decay, and this is their matte lipstick in the shade Uptight. I remember using this last summer for this sort of look and really enjoying it. So I'll show you how this looks alongside the liner there. So I'll just pop some of this on. And there is a brush number 12 in Caroline's kit, which you can use for finishing this off, or even doing the entire look by taking the lipstick on the brush and adding it like that. And to be honest, this lipstick just applies so quickly and easily, I don't really need to do much at all. And then because I've gone for the slight pop of pink, which again is optional, and again this is really fussy, so with this is me just making it fussy, I think, really, but Caroline did this, so I'm going to do it. So adding a bit of a reddy tone lipstick into the centre of the lips, and this is the new one from Sisley, the new Phyto Rouge Velvet in the shade Rose Sweet. I'll show you how this looks. You can see the 3 ones I've chosen together there. So I'm actually going to take a little bit of this on my finger and then just dab it into the centre. Just slightly breaking up the brown. That is absolutely it. But I do want to show you something. When I was looking for colours that I thought worked, I thought this palette worked brilliantly as well. So I think you could almost do the same look if you didn't want to go maybe fully for creams, using this from the DIOR, what's it called? The DIOR Backstage Glow Face palette in the shade 002 Glitz. So I think that these shades would work really nicely to pretty much achieve exactly what I've done now if you wanted to do this in a more powdery way, and I think it would still work. And also something you could do, let me get the right sort of brush. I think I'd get a blush brush to do this. You could almost take a mixture of all 4 and use that as your finishing highlight, which would be way too much for me today. I'm doing it anyway, but anyway, because I've got plenty of highlight on. But that would be a way of finishing, or not all over the face, but just in the points where you want that bit of shine. But I think that this would look really nice in the crease, and maybe one of these 2 all over the eye. In fact, why not just put a tiny bit of this into this one, maybe into the inner corner of the eye, just to give a pop of brightness, something I haven't done. But again, not necessary addition here to this look by any means. And under the brow. Actually, I'll mix these 2 together. But that's more as an alternative. I just wanted to show you because I did think that those were a really good shade match for this type of look. But that really is absolutely it. So even though I've sort of dragged this out by talking and by showing you different ways and adding more complicated bits that aren't particularly necessary and are definitely optional, but I can tell you that even with the extra bits, this can still be 10 minutes quite easily. This is just incredibly quick and easy, and you've seen there's just no fussing, there's no worrying about getting your eyes perfect, getting your contour perfect, getting blending out powders that are more complex and you have to layer them differently and make sure that you don't have very stark edges and make sure it's softened. It just does it all for you because you've already got that moisturized base and you just tap everything on. Everything's cohesive, eyes, cheeks, even forehead, everything. It is just super, super easy. And surprisingly, on my skin tone, I say surprisingly because I didn't expect it, I think it really works. And I think this is a really easy everyday look, especially as we move into spring and summer. I think this is a really good look to have. But that quick, straight out the door look for the morning or for holidays, if you just want that easy look for around the pool or something, but you still want a bit of makeup, I think this is perfect. And I've really enjoyed trying it, and this is definitely something I'll be reusing throughout the year for me. I really do love it, and I would love to know what you think of this. Have you tried a look like this? Is this something you already do, or will you be trying it? And if you will, I would love to hear how you get on. Any comments on this, please do comment below. I absolutely love to hear from you. And that's about it from me today. If you've enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button, and please do subscribe if you're not subscribed. It's super helpful, and I would love it if you came back for future videos. If you hit the notification bell, you won't miss future videos from me either. If you're already subscribed, thank you so much for being here. You know I really, really appreciate you. And I do hope to see all of you again for my next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.